Back once again with Taylor Bradford of the Gloucester Daily Times, talking about all things happening around Cape Ann. She's been a busy reporter lately. Heather's got a giant smile on her face. That can mean only one thing, Taylor: more pot shops on the island.
So funny. I hate that introduction, Corey, but go ahead, Taylor.
So there are currently 3 pot shops that are slated to be the 3 retail areas to purchase marijuana here in Gloucester. We already know Happy Valley has been here for about a year. They have it. The city has 3 permits. They acquired 1, but there's 2 more that are on their way. Fresh Fields is looking to acquire 1, but the one that's really the big news is Ocean Breeze Cultivation Center. Now, Ocean Breeze Cultivation Center is located over at 11 Dory Road, and they've been there for about 3 years. They've started out as a company of 12 and have expanded to 39 employees. They're family owned, and now they're looking to kind of grow their industry and start a retail shop over at Whistle Stop Way. So they're currently in the permit process. They're very excited. I was able to speak with Sam and Andrew Schwartz, who own the Air Place, and they talked about how this has always been the plan, and they're excited to grow and to continue to provide these resources to the community, but also to create jobs for the community. They're looking to add on quite a number of employees once they open up this new space. And it's an interesting conversation. I feel like I have covered the growth of pot shops here, both in Cape Ann and over the bridge, since I became a reporter. And it's really interesting to just see each municipality and how they kind of restrict the disbursement of marijuana in different retail and cultivation and dispensaries all over. And so, as I said before, Gloucester has 3 permits, and these 3 places have acquired those. Fresh Fields is also in the permitting process of opening up on Essex Avenue over at the mobile gas station over there. And while these 3 kind of go forward into opening up these shops or having already opened up their shops, there is one that unfortunately is tied up in court. So we've covered a little bit in the past. Hooligans Enterprise wanted to build their shop over in Gloucester Crossing. However, before they could acquire a host agreement, they had to go through all this paperwork. When they finally were looking like they were getting some headway, they unfortunately received a letter from the city attorney stating that the city had denied a request to enter into a host agreement on any terms with the organization, with the business. And so in a complaint filed in Salem Superior Court, the Hooligans Enterprise lawyer says that Hooligans met all the requirements laid out under the law and by the city, submitting a 120-page application back in March, holding community forums in May, and following up on the city's request for additional information regarding traffic, security, and finance. So they put in a lot of effort here. And we just found out actually 2 days ago that since this was all filed, Hooligans attorney and the city's attorney have submitted a stipulation of dismissal without prejudice that was filed on September 14th. And what this means is that the case is only dismissed temporarily, and that the plaintiff will be allowed to refile charges, adjust claims, and bring the case to another court. However, it seems like this might just be going in circles, because I don't think that this pot shop will be able to open up if they're looking to do retail here in the city, because again, as I said, the 3 permits have already been claimed. So it's an interesting narrative. This one doesn't seem like it's going to be going anywhere fast, but maybe they'll look to move outside of Cape Ann to somewhere else.
Okay, I have to ask, do you think they're being shamed because the other places are named Happy Valley, Fresh Field, and Ocean Breeze, and they're called Hooligans? I mean, that just feels very unfair.
I don't think so. I'm curious to wonder if it's due to the location that they proposed. But again, that's more for another day to discuss.
Right.
Speaking of hooligans, Taylor, what is going on with these kids and these damn hashtags?
Yeah, speaking of hooligans, my goodness.
Great transition, Corey. Last time we talked about the Devious Lick Challenge that hit Gloucester High School and closed a couple of their boys' bathrooms. This again to revisit, Devious Licks was a TikTok trend where children were encouraged to just defile bathrooms, steal things, vandalize different items, or steal whatever, and then post a video of themselves doing it on TikTok. Since then, TikTok has banned all of that, and there's a new trend called angelic yield, where kids, who have done these terrible things film themselves putting the soap dispensers back and putting money and toilet paper back into the bathrooms. Again, that's a refresher of what it is. It hit Gloucester High School. We finished our interview. Next day I get a call saying it's also hit the middle school. So this is something that's not just specific to Gloucester High School and other schools across the nation, but it also hit O'Malley. And I was able to speak with Lynn Beatty, who's the principal over there, and she says, on behalf of their custodial staff and admin team, she's asking parents that, that they really just talk to their kids about this, because it's hitting everyone everywhere, and it costs a lot of money, and it's really hard. And she said that she brought custodians into the classrooms to talk to kids so they can kind of get that face-to-face interaction with those who are having to clean up after them. And so I thought that was it. I thought that was the narrative. However, there are more challenges out there that are impacting people, and there's one called the Packy One Chip Challenge. Now, this one is more advertised. People do it all the time, apparently. You can buy this. It's one chip, one blue chip that has infused the Carolina Reaper and stinging scorpion peppers infused into it. It's supposed to be one of the hottest chips in the world, and it comes in a little kind of coffin-shaped box. And the challenge is to eat it. And I mean, again, I've watched too many videos of people doing it, and apparently kids at the middle school have been doing this and been getting extremely sick. And the principal over there was saying, they need to not do challenges that can bring on bodily harm. Like, if someone challenges you to do something, don't feel like, there's always the saying of like, do it to be cool, peer pressure works. But like, reality is these things should not be going on. And she had one student who was continually vomiting because of this challenge. And 5 others were also sick. And so again, it's one of those things of, students are coming back and all these different things are happening, and, they're everyday shenanigans that are impacting everybody. But you also have to question, and I couldn't get an answer, but I'm curious to know how the pandemic and a year and a half of something totally different is affecting as these kids go back to schools. So again, it's a conversation I'd love to hear from teachers and admin about their perspectives on that. But again, it's just something I was not expecting to report on last week, but here we are. So
it's pretty powerful, that social media business.
Yeah.
Taylor, you have a follow-up on Cupcakegate.
I do. So this story, I think, might be the last of this investigation. We found out that the outside investigation of an incident involving 2 Gloucester City councilors and a cupcake has been cooked. And when the final report was completed, it cost the city $15,089. So again, a New Hampshire-based attorney found that City Councilor Melissa Cox has violated the council's civility resolution for calling Councilor Jen Holmgren a cupcake during a public meeting, and that Holmgren's subsequent actions of eating a cupcake on screen and planning to do so in retaliation of Cox's comment also was in violation of the civility resolution. So that's kind of what the investigation concluded. There wasn't much to it. We kind of already saw everything happen in a public forum, so we knew what was going on. I think the real question was how much it was going to cost the city, and is this a normal amount for an investigation of this sort? The investigation was a result of a complaint that Holmgren filed against Cox after she called Holmgren a cupcake during the meeting. And then some residents had requested that Cox asked for Holmgren to be removed from the Human Rights Committee for eating a cupcake on the screen in retaliation of Cox's comment. So that's why the investigation happened, because a complaint was filed. I was not able to hear back from the HR director about, is this a normal amount of money to be spent? But I know that a lot of people are frustrated that these are the types of complaints being filed, or these are the situations that are happening in the city. I think it's important to note that neither of these 2 councilors are running again for office come this fall, but it looks like everything is kind of wrapped up and finished. But it's an investigation that, again, I think similar to the other stories that we weren't expecting to cover, but it's one where, we've seen a lot of heat going around all over local government lately. And so, it's just another thing that's being discussed. And hopefully, everyone was able to, outside of the public sector, also able just to discuss and come to conclusions and apologies on either side. So it's an interesting discussion, but I think it's over. So we'll see what comes of it down the pike.
All right. And lastly, there is a new member for the Board of Health.
There is. So as Rich Sigel moves across the country to be with his family, the Board of Health is in the process of appointing a new member of the Board of Health. They are looking to appoint Donald Ganim, who is scheduled to be referred to the City Council's Ordinance Administration Standing Committee to fill in for Sigel's unexpired term in the Board of Health. So he will be the newest Board of Health member and will serve outside of Sigel's term. And he's really excited to be joining. I had a chance to speak with him, and hasn't been here long in Cape Ann, but he's done a lot of collaboration with Addison Gilbert. He works over at Beverly Hospital, and works with the Beverly Anesthesia Associates. And so really being able to collaborate and see the connection points between all the North Shore community, says he's excited to really be able to see that on the front lines on the Board of Health. And he'll be joining a newly appointed chair, Joe Rosa, who's taking Sigel's position as chair, Vice President Claudia Schweitzer, Fred Cowan, and Rob Harris. And so we're excited for that process for him to come on board, as again, we're still in this pandemic, and we had the health director and the public health nurse leave. And so and now Rich is leaving. And so being able to start to fill out that team, and as they continue to carry the city throughout this pandemic, is an exciting thing to see, and to see passion and excitement through working professionals who are excited themselves. So.
Did he comment on any of the big challenges facing the city and the Cape Ann community, whether it's COVID or behavioral health or anything like that?
Yeah, so he did mention that he's quite familiar with the health challenges that face the people of Gloucester and the need to have knowledgeable citizens willing to be involved, but he didn't really go beyond that scope of comment. But that's a good question.
Well, I'm sure you'll follow up with that as well, Taylor. We appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you so much. And before I leave, I do want to let everybody know that it is Fat Bear Week Challenge 2021. So if you guys are interested in voting on the fattest bear up north, definitely check out a website that will be linked in our website into my trail column as the annual challenge to kind of see, which bear has gained the most fur over 2021. So that's just a plug for the column, but also an exciting national challenge that we all love to partake here in the office.
I bet there are pot shops and cupcakes nearby there too. You never know. All right. Thanks again, Taylor.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.